Scottie's rings are just the same as Michael Jordan's. Why not?
Because he won the best player on the team.
Yeah, but he was the most impactful player on the team.
I get it.
What do you mean he wasn't?
Listen, I get it.
If you unplug Scottie Pippen off that team,
sure,
Jordan's 0 for 6.
I think they're trying to launch another podcast, and what a better way to do it than to keep bringing MJ name up. And you got to bring MJ or Kwame name up. You know, we hot out here, but especially MJ. MJ hadn't played basketball in umpteen years, but everybody and their mama brings up MJ every single day. MJ name is brought up.
Why is everybody and their mama bringing up Michael Jordan's name every single day? He hasn't laced up a pair of sneakers in decades. But the corporate media machine, it just can't stop. And now, Rich Paul went on a podcast and dropped an absolute bomb that flipped the basketball world completely upside down. He claimed if you unplug Scottie Pippen from the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan goes 0 for 6 in the finals. Think about that. 0 for 6. That one sentence didn't just turn heads. It made former #1 pick Kwame Brown absolutely lose his mind. Kwame went straight at Rich Paul, straight at Gilbert Arenas, and exposed the entire operation for what it actually is. A highly organized, deeply funded, paid campaign specifically designed to prop up LeBron James as the undisputed GOAT. But here is the real question nobody wants to answer. Is there actually such a thing as a sidekick ring, or is a championship just a championship? No matter who you won it next to, you already know what comes next. The second you start ranking rings by whose was shinier, you have officially left honest basketball analysis and entered pure delusion. Take a look at how this media circus tried to separate the value of the exact same trophy.
They're just not, right? Scottie Pippen rings, those 6, they're not the same as Michael Jordan's.
Right.
They're not the same as LeBron James.
But they're pretty good.
But they're good. They're good. If there's some sidekick rings,
I think Scottie's rings are just the same as Michael Jordan's. Why not?
Because he won the best player on the team.
Yeah, but he was the most impactful player on.
Let's look at the actual facts here. Scottie Pippen's rings are the exact same as Michael Jordan's. The exact same year. The exact same banner. The exact same everything. There is no version of a championship where one player's ring is worth less than his teammates. What? Do you think the owner put 2 extra diamonds in Jordan's ring and gave Pippen the budget silver version? They won together. They bled together. That is how a team works. So when the media tries to argue that Pippen's rings count less, Kwame's response is lethal, by that exact same logic. Is LeBron James's ring any different from Mario Chalmers's ring? No. It is the same damn ring. They won it the same year, on the same floor. And Kwame nailed the deeper, uglier point about why this kind of toxic talk even exists in modern sports media. The only people who try to disqualify another man's championship are the people who never won one themselves. It is pure, unadulterated, jealous behavior. It is the talk of someone who is salty about having an empty trophy case. So they go around trying to discount everyone who actually climbed the mountain. Kwame put it plainly. That would be like him being bitter about not having a ring and claiming Matt Barnes or Nick Young got a sidekick ring. There is no such thing. That is a fake concept invented by media talking heads who get no rings, and desperately need a reason to feel better about it. But look closely at the next clip. Because this is where the plot thickens and the real pro-LeBron agenda gets completely unmasked.
What do you mean he wasn't?
Listen, I get it.
If you unplug Scottie Pippen off that team,
Sure.
Jordan's 0 for 6.
Sure,
could be.
Who knows? But
No,
if you
that
take,
could be.
But if
It's
you
not no
replace
who
Scottie,
knows.
but replace Scottie Pippen with another All-Star. No one does it without another All-Star.
No,
Replace him with another All-Star. He's going to win more than one.
You can replace him with another All-Star, but just because it's an All-Star don't mean it's Scottie Pippen.
Here is where Kwame completely exposed the real corporate game being played in these podcast studios. Rich Paul and Gilbert Arenas are not having an honest basketball conversation. They are pushing an agenda, and that agenda is always identical: diminish Michael Jordan to elevate LeBron James. Watch how they do it. It's a classic, textbook bait and switch. To prop up LeBron, they suddenly need Scottie Pippen to be so unbelievably historic that Jordan could not have functioned without him. So they elevate Pippen. They call him the most impactful player on those Bulls teams. They rave about his 6'9" frame, his 7'3" wingspan, his elite playmaking. They build Pippen up into an untouchable basketball god specifically so they can use him as a weapon to tear Jordan's flawless legacy down. But look at the massive contradiction they just trapped themselves in, and it is absolute poetry to watch it completely collapse. These are the exact same guys who go on No Chill Gill and claim the 1990s era was completely trash. Brandon Jennings sat on that exact same platform and said the 90s were weak, that guys couldn't dribble, that the defense was overrated. So which is it? You cannot have it both ways. Either the 90s were full of legendary, physical, elite teams, meaning Jordan was dominating great players, or the 90s were trash. And if the era was trash, how is Scottie Pippen suddenly so incredible that the greatest player to ever live couldn't win a single game without him? They only build Pippen up when it serves the goal of hurting Jordan. The second the conversation shifts, Pippen goes right back to being a product of a weak, outdated era. And the exact same toxic double standard runs through how the media treats LeBron's own teammates. Every single time LeBron is given an absolute super team, the media and the clutch sports camp work overtime to minimize how good those teammates actually were. Think about it. When you point out LeBron had Ray Allen, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Love, who at the time was literally an elite 20 and 10 power forward in Minnesota, they immediately pivot, they say. Oh, they weren't actually that good. They downplay Kevin Love by pointing at how he stood on the wing, instead of acknowledging that LeBron's system forced him to stand there. They do whatever it takes to make LeBron's help look smaller, so LeBron looks bigger. But the moment you flip that exact same logic onto Jordan, the rules completely change. Suddenly, Jordan's teammate is so godly that Jordan would be nothing without him. The standard completely reverses depending on which player the machine is trying to protect. For LeBron, the teammates were never that good. For Jordan, the teammate was so good he carried the entire dynasty. That massive inconsistency is the ultimate tell. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the conversation was never about honest evaluation. It was about reaching a predetermined conclusion to force LeBron into the GOAT spot. Let's play their game both ways for a second. If Jordan supposedly would not have won without Pippen, then we must have the exact same conversation about LeBron James. Without Dwayne Wade, is LeBron a champion? Kwame's answer is a hard no. LeBron needed to go to South Beach to learn how to win. Remember 2011? J.J. Barea bodied him up. Jason Terry outscored him in the fourth quarter. LeBron completely disappeared in the finals against a single-star Dallas Mavericks team. Without that Miami Heat infrastructure, and without Wade teaching him how to close games, LeBron does not become a champion. Without Kyrie Irving hitting the greatest shot in Cleveland history in 2016. Without Anthony Davis dominating the bubble, what does LeBron's resume actually look like? If the rule is that a superstar gets no credit when they have an elite co-star, then that rule has to apply to number 23 in Los Angeles too. But wait until you see how they handle the money side of this narrative. Because next, Kwame exposes exactly who is getting paid to keep this lie alive.